Hello, this is Ashley Kennedy with PremiumBeat.com, here with the first of many regularly scheduled screencasts devoted to the fascinating art and science of video editing and all things post-production. In this movie, we'll discuss several of my favorite customization procedures, specifically highlighting the incredible power of workspace mapping. Now, to begin customizing your workspace, you'll want to start getting your windows exactly how you want them. And one of the most important windows to focus on is your timeline. Well, here's our timeline, but it doesn't mean much without a sequence, so let's go ahead and load a sequence up. And as you'll see here, our sequence just basically looks like the Media Composer default sequence. All of the tracks are the same size, and we have our default colors here. Now, what I want to do is actually create two workspaces, a video workspace and an audio workspace. So we'll create two timeline views, a video timeline view and an audio timeline view. Before changing our views, let's go ahead and save this view out as the default view in case we should ever need to come back to it. To save a timeline view, I just come down here to where it says Untitled and press Save As, and I'm just going to call this Default. Okay. So we have that saved out, and now we're ready to start customizing. For my video timeline view, what I'd like to do is make the video tracks large, the audio tracks small. I'd like to add clip frames as well as a little bit of extra information about my clips. So to highlight just my video tracks, I'm going to turn my audio tracks off, and I'll just do that by shift dragging through my audio tracks and my timecode track. And we're going to make these larger by pressing Command L or Control L on a PC. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and make the audio tracks small. So go ahead and select the reverse of what we have selected now. I can do that by dragging a lasso through all of my tracks. And now we have the opposite selected. And we'll go ahead and make these smaller by pressing Command K or Control K if I was on a PC. Now we want to add some clip frames to my video tracks. So again, we'll select the reverse, come down here to the Timeline Fast menu, and I'll put on clip frames, and it gives us a thumbnail. And I want to add one piece of information about my clips here, and that's the resolution, which I can bring up in clip text and clip resolutions. So there's a lot going on here, but right now that's what I want for my video view. And so I'm going to save this out. You'll notice that down here it says default.1 in italics. That means that the default view has changed. We're going to go ahead and just save this out as video. And now we want to go back to default because we want to now customize our audio view. All right, our video tracks are selected, so let's go ahead and just make them smaller. Command K. And let's make our audio tracks larger, Command L. And one of the most important things that you can do for your audio view is to put the waveform in your tracks, which is under Audio Data, Waveform. And I'm also going to add in the auto gain so that I can keyframe audio right in my timeline. So this is basically how I would like my audio view to be. What I'm going to do is actually change the color of the tracks also, just slightly. And we'll do that by coming into track color, and we'll change that to a darker blue. And we'll go ahead and select the reverse. And this is just to differentiate it a little bit from the video tracks. Okay, so this is my audio view. And again, we'll come down here to Save As and name it Audio. Okay, so you can see that I can basically just toggle through here and switch back and forth between audio and video, highlighting different aspects of my clips in my timeline. And if we look over here at our settings, under timeline settings, we can see that we have our audio view, our video view, and our default view. Okay, so let's just take this one step further now. Let's get our entire workspace looking exactly how we want it to look. Now your workspace is your entire interface, which includes all your main windows, your project window, your composer window, your timeline, your bins, as well as any windows that are closed by default. It also includes the physical arrangement of all of these windows. So let's just take a look. We want to create a video and an audio workspace. My video workspace, I want to basically just look like this, the default setup, okay? So if I come over to settings and we look at workspace, we have a default workspace. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this. So this one is going to be called my default. And this one here, I'm just going to name video, which for now is going to be identical to my default workspace. This might change later, but for now we're not changing much. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it again. And this one is going to look quite a bit different. This is my audio workspace. I'm going to go ahead and bring the check mark up to here. And I want to open a couple of windows for my audio workspace. First of all, I want to open the audio tool. And then I want to open the audio mixer. And we'll kind of position them like so. We'll just close this bin for now. So this is how I would like my audio workspace to be. So we'll come into audio workspace and we want to save this workspace manually. Almost always you'll choose a manual save of your workspace because a workspace is a specific arrangement of windows. If you move a window, you don't want it to continually save. Rather, you want it to be a specific decision. So I'm going to save this workspace manually. And now this is the audio workspace. If I move the check mark back to the video workspace, you'll see that it goes back to the video view. Now I'm going to take it one step further. I'm going to open up my video workspace and I'm going to choose this one here, Activate Settings Linked by Name. What this means is that this is going to link my video workspace with any other settings that are named video. And what do we have named video? Our timeline. So it's going to link my timeline video view to my workspace video view. Let's check that box and say OK. And again, we have to kind of open up a sequence so we can see this in action. But right now, my video view is linked to my video timeline view. Let's do the same thing for my audio workspace. We're going to go ahead and activate settings linked by name. And because we have an audio timeline view here, it's going to link my audio workspace with my audio timeline view. Okay, so let's move our check mark up to audio and let's watch our timeline view change as well. Okay, so we had our audio mixer, our audio tool, and our audio timeline all pop up when we move the check mark up to audio. And again, let's go back down to video. And we have our video timeline and our video workspace. Now this is great, but what we don't necessarily want to have to do is move the check mark back and forth every time we want to change a workspace. Instead, what we want to do is actually map this workspace to our keyboard. So I have both a default keyboard as well as my own keyboard. Let's go ahead and choose that one and open it up. And then we're going to open up the command palette. That's available via the Tools menu or by pressing Command 3 or Control 3 if I was on a PC. And we want to choose button-to-button reassignment. And we want to go to More. And we want to choose our workspaces like so. Now, workspaces are alphabetical, so we have our audio workspace is equivalent to workspace 1. This is workspace 2 and workspace 3. So basically what I want to do is map workspace 1 and workspace 3 to some buttons on my keyboard. I'm going to go ahead and map audio to Shift A, and I'm going to map video to Shift V. Okay, so I'm just going to drag my workspace 1 to Shift A and my workspace 3 to Shift V. Okay, let's go ahead and test it out. I'm going to press Shift A for audio. Again, we have our audio windows come up and our audio timeline. And I'm going to press Shift V for my video workspace, and here's my video workspace. And there you have it. We're switching entire views and editing functions with the press of a single button. Now this demo has hopefully given you lots of really good ideas about creating and mapping your own editing workspaces to optimize your own editing workflow. It's a very cool way to work. I hope you've enjoyed this. Remember, there are more exciting video tutorials coming soon, so make sure to check back regularly for other screencasts where we explore keyboard and interface shortcuts and more in both Avid and Final Cut Pro.